Okay, you're all set. Just make sure you state for the record, everybody that's in attendance, and when you do votes, make sure that everybody's name is recorded with how they vote.
Okay, so do you want me to just list everybody that's here? Start with that, or does everybody, should we do a roll call or?
What you can do a roll call and have them respond that they're in attendance.
Okay, Ian Parenti,
Here.
Gary Mataronis Jr.,
Here.
Jeremy Howard,
Here.
Scott Morrison,
Here.
Ben Gauthier, I apologize. Tom Grimes,
Here.
Greg Mataronis, and then also in attendance, Town Council Liaison Gary Mataronis Sr. He's here. And Harbor Master Mike Massa.
I'm here.
Okay, so we'll call this meeting to order, 7:04 p.m. on May 12th, 2021. And I'd like to start with the minutes from the December 9th meeting. And
I'll move to approve them as presented.
Second.
I'm sorry, Tom, did you second that?
I did, yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, minutes
Roll call on
approved.
that, Carol?
We could have, I'll just state for the record that I was able to see all responders and it was a unanimous vote in favor.
Okay, none opposed.
None opposed. Okay, seeing no old business, we'll move on to new business. And first item is discussion of squid fishing on the town dock and any actions that the Harbor Commission may want to consider. And I'm not sure who is the lead on this. Maybe Gary?
Yeah, I guess I mean, it's been hard to use the dock with the squid fishermen there. I mean, they're at the point now where they won't move any of their gear. They won't reel their lines in to get into the dock anymore. And I mean, the bathroom issue seems to be a little bit at bay now that there is a portage arm down there. But the trash, the littering, and just nobody really, just being kind of disrespectful down there in general as far as dealing with the fishermen and all the new parking signs that were put up there. They don't really abide by it. They definitely don't abide by any of those. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. Ian had mentioned he pulled into the dock there the other day and they had reeled all the dock lines in and they get their lures caught on them when they go fishing down there. So they reel them in is what they do, and they get them as close as they can to the top of the dock and they just cut the dock lines off. So that way they don't keep getting hung up on the jigs that they have. So, I mean, it's just one of those things when you pull up into the dock and, if it's blowing out of the north 30 or something and you go on the south side of the dock and you grab a dock line that's about 2 feet long and you can't tie it up to anything. It's a little bit tough. So, I mean, I think there's just a couple instances down there this year that the police were called, but I mean, and another issue is the outlet on the hoist was basically had gang strips going off it with lights all over the sides of the docks. So you also have that aspect. I don't know how much electricity they burned, but they got some bright lights down there, and it's a spider web of extension cords, and they also have the cords coming out of underneath the control box there. And I don't know if somebody was trying to get in the control box, but the handles also snapped off the control box. So I don't know. It just, now, I mean, the harbor master and myself were trying to get into the control box to check it the other day, and it was inaccessible. So we got to figure that project out too, I guess, at some point, get into that box and get on to it or something. But yeah, it's just a little bit, a lot of it's unnecessary. They come down here and they take, and then they just, they just make the place a mess and leave, So it'd be a different story if it was respectful fishing and they treated the area like their own. I mean, it'd be different, but they don't. So that's about it of what we're having going on.
Yeah, I'd like to see just a total ban on fishing off the dock. And the grounds would be, they're basically stealing electricity. They're stealing the docking lines. It's certainly not safe for them to be up there when these guys are coming in at all hours, hoisting up, 1,000-pound vats of fish, and they're not getting out of the way. Not to mention just the mess that they're making around the dock, the trash and whatnot. I think we have grounds to, just put a complete ban on it. I know it's a federal dock, but at some point, when there's theft going on, I think we have the right to shut it off. I mean, they did it at Goat Island.
It's absolutely a safety issue at this point too. I mean, we're loading those vats in, and they will not leave the area. They're crowded around, 2,000 pounds hanging above their head with their back to it. If something were to happen, they won't even face what's going on. So if something were to happen, they wouldn't be able to get out of the way. It's dangerous on so many different levels.
Yeah.
Well, the liability too, the town's got to.
Yeah.
And also, we've had complaints about the light, the working lights coming on. We have them on motion sensors so that they'll only be on for, when the guys are unloading. Well, these people are there basically, all night long, and those lights aren't going off because they're moving around. So that's another issue.
Yeah, you can't leave your boat there. Not that we can get in on the north side anymore, Gary. And
Right.
You can't, I wouldn't trust leaving my boat there
No.
if I needed to for whatever reason because of it. And it's unfortunate that, there was a big squid year and it turns out to be a big negative for the harbor because of this situation. My thoughts are we probably need some legal opinion on potential avenues for what Mike is suggesting. That's what
I would suggest that everything that Ian said and what Gary said gets put into a form of a motion. And then maybe, Greg, you can write a letter with all those concerns on it. And I can take it to the town council. That way we can put it in the solicitor's lap. And the problem with that is the sooner you get it to me, the sooner I can get it to the solicitor. We got a council meeting next Thursday. So maybe I can bring it up at the council meeting and get the authority to give it to the solicitor from the full council and tell them the situation down here. I've gone through this myself. I think the quickest means you might have to curtail fishing down there is somebody wants to call the DEM and have them come down. Those guys are supposed to have Rhode Island fishing licenses, and 80% of the cars are down there from Massachusetts. So there was Connecticut place down there the other night, and they're coming from as far away as Boston. It's an Asian community, and when they find something going on, they let everybody know, and then it's unfortunate. I haven't been able to go squidding in 10 years because they're very hostile to anybody coming in. They think, they get there at 5 o'clock and they sit in a chair all afternoon till it gets dark. And you even, any of the town residents can't get down there to enjoy what we're paying for. So if somebody would call DEM and say that we have a problem down here and say we'd like them to come down and check these people for licenses, it'll at least curtail it for a little while. And they can't walk in and get a license. They have to get it online. So it may slow them down a little bit, but that's.
They'll be on their smartphones in about 10 minutes.
I think it might be a temporary fix.
Yeah. We need a total ban. We need to be able to put up signs saying no fishing on the dock. So they, they still have a choice. They can go out in a boat and catch squid in the harbor. They can, or try to get squid off the beach. But because, they don't allow it at the yacht club and they don't allow it at the Point Club, I don't see why we need to, and they could actually squid off of the breakwater.
Yeah.
They have no trouble fishing off the breakwater any other time. So I just think it's, it's gotten way out of hand. It's gotten out of hand for years, and we really need to put a stop to it.
Let's say we did restrict it in some manner. What's the enforcement mechanism?
Well, that would fall on the police and DEM.
I mean, I'm sure we could come up with some signage also to.
Oh yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
but somebody's got to enforce it. It's like,
Yeah. If it's most.
Unfortunately, trying to get a certain aspect of the community out of there, basically non-residents, but then you shut it off to residents.
Yeah, that's my concern if we could do it.
And that's already
That-
happened, right? I mean, my
that's-
son was down there from 8th grade on with all of his friends because that was just the thing to do. And then they got shoved out of the way by these people and just
Right,
Yeah.
became such an unsavory environment. The kids just didn't want to deal with it.
right.
Yeah, I was
right.
down there the other night, and one of the Hathaway boys was trying to squid, and he had to go over by the Paris Gondolas dock because he couldn't even get, the only kid I saw from town in the entire place got squeezed right out of there anyway.
Right.
It was such a shame to see. It really was.
Yeah, same thing happened to George and Ben Iman. They just got shoved out of the way by, and then, the big lights, everything. Back then it was Coleman lanterns and now they're stealing electricity. That's just great.
They were
Yeah.
they were setting the dock on fire with those Coleman lanterns too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there a precedent at Point Judith or Newport or, other places where we can just
I know.
call to another municipality and say, how did you handle it? So we give, I'd rather give a much more complete package to the solicitor. So, to Councilman
Goat Island
Monroe's
Causeway.
point, it gets done quickly.
I think the causeway on Goat Island,
Yeah.
they shut them down. I don't know whether.
But I think that was because it was a mess and it was a hazard with cars, right? And
Right.
you have, we can make all the hazard cases. If people are oblivious to an overhead lift of, 2,000 pounds, that's
Absolutely.
easy to make that case. And there's, slime and junk litter everywhere that you guys have to trip over. But if there's a case that's been made at a town dock, like Point Judith or somewhere, that we can, see what that municipality did, and we could probably have a much
Well, I think DEM.
faster package to put together.
I'm sure DEM had something to do with those.
Okay.
So maybe we could talk to them. Just the fact that there's extension cords on the dock when you're trying to, you got your deckhand up there and you're trying to maneuver a 2,000-pound vat of fish or ice, and you step on an extension cord and you can go ass up, very easy. So just for that sake alone, I think that we're putting our residents and the people that are working and trying to make a living in jeopardy for these outsiders that are coming in. And
So what's the right language to say, that it's a commercial fishing 24-hour operation at this dock? If somebody says, hey, I'm selling my 5-gallon buckets, I'm a commercial fisherman. How do you make the delineation between
I think we can say that.
quick
I
fishermen.
think we can say that it's used to unload fish, but not to catch fish. Is the
Right.
distinction that I would say.
So it's a loading, unloading facility for.
Yeah, but
for-
not to be
for-
fished from.
Okay,
it's not a fishing pier. It's a dock. It's a loading dock. And the two just aren't getting along. That's for sure.
so is that, that language too, is it calling it town loading dock from now on instead of town dock? Does that also help?
I mean,
Well, it's a commercial operation. It's not a recreational.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, well, recreational boaters can use it. It's basically a dock for loading and unloading and launching boats.
Right.
And that's its purpose 24/7.
Not the fishing off of.
But not fishing. You know, what we could, and I'm just throwing this out there, it might be crazy, but we could say the only place that you can fish is that little platform on the side. You know what I mean? And obviously they'll be fighting over that. But I mean, that may be a way of, you know, alleviating some of the problem. I mean, if they're on that little platform, they're not going to bother us for the most part.
No,
It's
my
still gonna
concern
be-
with that is as soon as the police come down to straighten it out, everybody's going to scurry onto the platform, and then they're going to overflow right back
Yeah.
onto the town dock.
They're still gonna run extension cords and.
Yeah,
still gonna
if
be
they're
a
allowed to
problem.
be there, then it's going to
Yeah.
be an issue.
Yeah, I agree.
So if we want to put a letter together, do we need to have that language now in this meeting, or is it as simple as making a motion to compose a letter with the concerns of the Harbor Commission, and then that can be developed separately, or does this have to be?
We could authorize you to do it, Greg, as chair, or
Okay, all right, as long as.
working with the harbor master.
Yeah, so if, you know, the grievances have essentially been aired here out in public, and we could have a motion for me to put something together to submit to the town. Is that okay, Carol?
Yes.
I'll move that.
Second.
I'll second.
Oops, here we go.
Just so it's clear for the record and not just everybody throwing out the, yes, I agree.
Yeah, what is the motion exactly now?
Right.
The motion was to authorize the chair of the Harbor Commission to draft a letter expressing the concerns of the Harbor Commission over the use of the town dock and squid fishing, and to seek an opinion on how this may be capable of being either dissuaded or stopped altogether.
Do you have that written down?
No, but we can listen to the recording again.
Okay.
I would say don't mention squid fishing. It would be all fishing,
Agreed.
because all they have to say is, I'm not squid fishing.
Okay.
I keep catching these damn things, but
Okay.
so just fishing.
So just fishing. Now that was clarified, let me think. Scott, you were the one who made the motion?
Yeah, I moved it.
Okay, so are you
Yes.
all right with that amendment? And then Ben was the first to say second, so are you okay with the amended language, Ben?
Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right,
well, I might need you to transcribe that to me just for the
what I can do is listen to the recording later and I'll shoot it off in an email to you.
minutes, okay?
Okay.
What I was also going to bring up, Mike, is remember that rule board we had on the dock there that, you know, when we replaced that railing, that the rule board kind of went away. Dock rules there.
Oh, yeah. Whatever happened to that?
But that was no fishing ever on that, or no?
No, there wasn't. No, that had to do with dipping pots and, you know,
Yeah,
stuff that doesn't even exist anymore
yeah.
for the most part.
Do we have the authority to ban fishing there? This
Well,
committee?
I think that's our avenue, is we're looking for advice here. We're going to submit this to the town and find out, I guess.
I think it's the council has to, if it's, I don't know, Gary, senior, somebody said it's a federal dock. I don't know. If it's a town dock, then I think we recommend to the council, and then the council has to take action.
It's a town dock that was built with federal funds, so it has to meet federal guidelines. So that's where the solicitor's going to have to read whatever original documents we may have had and seek an opinion there to find out whether you can ban fishing altogether or whether you just have the ability to control it somehow through restrictions. I mean, I think easily you can restrict that they cannot put or use the electricity. But in order to have any teeth in the police being able to police that, that would have to be an ordinance change that the council would have to do so that the police department can actually enforce it.
Right.
you know, I'm sure that the town dock, the ordinance as it is now, never allowed fishing. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're trying to reverse something. I don't think fishing was ever intended to be allowed on that dock. So I'm just wondering if it may be just something we need to amend.
But you're not supposed to jump off it. You're not supposed to swim off it. Back when the dock was built in 1991, there was no thought about squid fishing off the dock. It wasn't a big thing like it is now. I mean, like I said, 25 years ago, there was a handful of people from town would do it, and then more and more people found out about it, and now the residents are displaced because it's just, you know, there's such rudeness down there. Like I say, I haven't been down there in a long time because I get the attitude that, hey, I live here and I can't fish off this dock. You push me again, you're going to go in the water, and then I'm going to, I'll probably put somebody in the water, he can't swim, and then I'll be behind bars. So
it used to be hard to rile up a gang to get out. You know, if I had tried to get Dougie or Gary to go, it was hard to get a gang to go out there and stand with you. Now you can't even get there if you want to.
Yep.
Right.
Does
Gary,
DEM ever go down there? Has anybody seen DEM down there at all?
No, they come to, I unload in the middle of the night all the time just from when we get in from the trips, and they're down there often enough, but there's no, at the moment, there's basically nothing they can do, provided they have a fishing license, which even in Massachusetts license is reciprocal with Rhode Island. So they're covered if they have a saltwater fishing license, which I would assume most of them do. It's $5, I think, at this point.
Is there an option down there to look at extending the parking limitation to a resident parking only zone as an option?
I think because we have federal money involved, I don't know if we can or not. Gary would know better than I.
But the roads are, I mean, there's towns like, Westerly, for example, they do that extensively down on, some of their sort of more protected areas. It's just in Narragansett, it's another example. I mean, there's a lot of resident only parking there.
I think maybe Greg can put that in the letter he's going to address to the council, and I'm sure we'll get approval from the council to get an opinion from the solicitor. If he kind of drags his feet on it, then we'll ask, we have another solicitor in Newport that may have some information on what's going on in Newport.
We also had where the cops did come down in the parking lot. I mean, you couldn't even, I went to get in there and I couldn't get into the parking lot to get to the dock. They were 3 or 4 wide off the cement wall there to the west. And every spot was taken along the front, the south side. It was all taken. And the cops had came and told everybody they had to move, at least on the east side and the south side. They had to move all their vehicles because we had posted no parking signs there. We did that just because of this situation, and mainly because this, but other reasons where it's getting busy down there in the summertime. But so the cops had broke them up, and all they did was go and park all down the sides of the road, go right away, down by the point on the back on the dock in 5 minutes. So, I mean, it's not gonna, the only thing that will deter them is the no fishing deal, because the parking didn't matter at all the other night, and then the cops leave, and then.
Yeah, I don't think parking is going to be the answer or the avenue that we want to go down.
Yeah, the whole thing's difficult because I think the mechanism we're really all looking for is to allow, kids from town to still be able to do it. But I just don't see any way that we can exclude the people that are being a problem and include the people that aren't.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we ask the solicitor, or ask the council to ask the solicitor to look into it and see what they come back with. So.
Sounds
So
good.
Greg, try to get that to me relatively soon, or get it to Carol so she can put it on the agenda for Thursday.
If
Yeah.
I have the letter by the close of Monday, I can get it on the agenda.
Okay, if you could get me the language for the motion that we still have to vote on, I'm going fishing tonight, so I won't be able to do anything tomorrow, but I can work on it potentially Friday and. the week.
Okay,
I wrote down what everybody's concerns was, so I'll put something together on the computer and email it to you, okay?
Okay,
That'll make it a little easier for you.
okay. Is there any further discussion before we vote on this? All right, seeing none. Do you want to call roll?
I can if you want me to, that's fine.
Thank you.
Tom Grimes,
Aye.
Ben Gauthier,
Aye.
Scott Morrison,
Aye.
Gary Mataronis Jr.,
Aye.
Ian Parenti,
Aye.
Jeremy Howard,
Aye.
Greg Mataronis.
Aye.
Okay, let the record show it was unanimous.
All right, moving on to the next one is Fargo transfer. Mike, do you want to take that?
Yep, so I've got 2 transfers and 1 request. So the Barbara Fargo transfer, I've sent a copy of these letters to both Carol and to you, Greg. You should have those. Did you get those, Carol?
Yes, I did receive them.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to read the letters for you guys. So it says, as you may know, I'm 90 years old, and I am no longer able to get to Little Compton to enjoy the pleasures of the fresh sea that I loved aboard the Wells. That was the name of her boat. With that said, I'd like to transfer the ownership of the mooring and its management and responsibilities to my son, Matthew. And Matthew said I attached this note from my mother requesting a transfer in my name.
Is this so? Are we looking same boat and everything, or?
Same boat, same mooring. That she's had that boat for years and years, and
Yeah.
that mooring's been in the family. Seems pretty cut and dry.
Anyone have any thoughts on it?
Sounds straightforward, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a. Oops, sorry. Sorry about that.
I can make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay. Before we go to a vote, Mike, if I remember correctly, you're allowed a one-time transfer within a family, so this is her first time?
Yes, this is the first time, but
Okay.
that isn't the case. There isn't a one-time.
Okay.
Right now it's you're allowed to transfer your mooring to a family, immediate family member.
As many times as,
Yes,
okay, all right, sorry.
as of right now.
Okay. We could take a vote. Tom Grimes,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Ian,
Aye.
and I vote yes as well. Yeah, do you want to go on to the next one?
Okay, so that was approved. Okay, the next one is a little different. This is, so this mooring was given, I don't know, probably 8 years ago to Mrs. Lenzer. She transferred it to her son recently, within the past couple of years. And he would like to transfer it to his sister. I'll read the letter. It says, I am the holder of mooring number 8 in Secana Harbor. My sister Nina Lenzer and I together own the sailboat, which is our family kept on that mooring. I am writing now to request that mooring number 8 be transferred to my sister, who spends far more time in Little Compton than I do, and is now going to be responsible for paying for the sailboat going forward. She and her husband, Christopher Vision, are the owners of the property located on 64 Bailey's Ledge Road. Thank you in advance for your consideration of this request. Please don't hesitate to contact me. So this is a brother to sister transfer.
I know in the past we've done lateral moves like this before, I believe.
We have.
We have, yeah.
They got it, they got it from the
Marvel.
waiting list 8 years ago, Mike? Is that how they came to it?
Yes, yep, they were on the waiting list for probably 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve it. Seems straightforward.
I can
Second
second it.
Okay, any discussion on it?
Is
Seeing
there
none.
a,
Oh, go ahead.
is there a different protocol for a business? Like if you're, running a commercial fishing business from one of the commercial moorings, and you want to, keep that business in town, is there a, different protocol we go through compared to these family transfers, or is a fishing business still it's a family entity and that's what it is?
That's
It's-
how we've handled it, yes.
Okay.
Well, what do you mean a family? I mean, you
Like a-
can't sell the business with the mooring. It's basically, it's the same thing. You would transfer, like I would transfer my mooring to say my son, something like that. I couldn't sell
Right.
my business and have the person assume the mooring. They figure out their own.
Yeah,
their
and
own,
it's just a commercial mooring,
Yep.
but it's handled exactly the same way. It
Yep.
has to be immediate family.
Okay.
Yeah, to get the commercial moorings, you have to be on the waiting list. As a commercial, there's a commercial wait list, and then there's the recreational wait list.
Right, so there's basically 2 ways of getting a mooring. Either inheriting it or being at the top of the list.
I understand it would make in some ways, it would make some sense to be able to sell it with the business, but the risk is that I sell my skiff for $100,000. It happens to come with a mooring. It's a way to sell a mooring at that point.
Yeah, we can't,
I think it's something we shouldn't dabble in.
Okay.
no, I agree.
absolutely not.
Oh, it'll be like the marina, $400,000 slips.
Okay, are we ready for a vote?
Yes.
Tom,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Ian,
Aye.
I'll vote yes as well. All right, on to the last request, Mike.
All right, this request is different. So this comes to me from Abigail Candon. It says to the commission, I will not be putting Iris on my mooring 21 this summer, as we have too much going on this summer with a large construction project to have more time writing stuff, more time for sailing. The mooring will be something occupied fully occupied next summer. So she's looking for a year off, basically.
And in the past, I don't know if my memory is right on this, but we don't necessarily have to make a motion and approve this. Isn't it just that it needs to be noted in writing to you, Mike, and then they get this one summer off, or I'm not sure.
Well, it was my understanding that it had to be a reason, like a health reason, or the boat sank, or, I suppose, there's nothing in the ordinance that says what the reason has to be. But I was always assuming that it had to be a good reason and not just construction in my house. But I suppose everybody's entitled to a year off. And
Well,
and now, as of last year, and I brought this up at the meeting last year, because of COVID, I allowed anyone that didn't put their boat on the mooring. There was no questions asked because of COVID. So this year, I think things are getting back to normal, and I think we should go back to the more restrictive terms. And so, but this is her first year asking for time off. So it does state that everyone is entitled in the ordinance to a 1 year, 1 time sabbatical. So I don't have a problem with it. It's just a tiny little beetle cat. It's a very small mooring. And we'll try to give it to somebody on the waiting list.
right, that's what I was gonna ask, Mike. So someone might want to use that,
Sure, absolutely. We'll find
I
something.
would,
follow the procedure there to do that, yeah.
yeah, I would also say it's fine. The fact that she's giving, it's dated February 3rd, plenty of advance notice, so that way the mooring can be occupied by somebody looking to do something with it instead of finding out next November that she just never put anything on it.
Exactly.
So I would say it's courteous and with no specifications, she's entitled to her sabbatical is my thought.
Sounds
Is anybody in mind, Mike, for that mooring?
no, I don't.
But is that also normal that you would have someone else occupy that mooring temporarily? And then are they now liable for the fitness of the ground tackle and all of the rest of the equipment?
Well, how we've always done it is the mooring holder is still, they're still liable for all the fees, the inspection, and, any responsibility and occurrence of, any fees that, anything that has to be done. It's the mooring holder's responsibility.
But we also charged a fee for the boat to be put on there, the normal fee, whatever it is.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's paid that. She's paid the fee.
Right, but I mean, that whoever Mike's gonna give that mooring to,
Right.
temporarily, they pay that, whatever the per foot fee for whatever the boat is.
They reimburse the owner. Is
Oh,
that
I thought you've just, I don't want to call it double charging because it sounds crude,
Yeah.
but basically the person that is also going to use it has to pay the annual
No.
mooring fee for that 1
Right.
year.
Right, so you get 2 mooring fees,
Yeah. Well-
basically.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it a couple of different ways. I mean, moorings, for example, your mooring, last year, I was able to rent that out, and we raised quite a bit of money that way, a lot more than if it was just a mooring, just an annual fee for a 15-foot boat. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
So-
so it depends, is what I'm trying to say. It depends on the mooring, the size of the mooring.
So while we're talking about my boat, I'm still having problems getting that finished. It's fiberglass, but we took the whole top sides off and basically gutted it. The farther we went, the worse it got. So I'm probably not gonna have it on the mooring. I'm hoping to have it back in September. So
Right.
my mooring's gonna be available to rent again.
Right, so again, like I said, last year, it wasn't, you didn't have to use the one-time sabbatical because of COVID. So if you don't use the mooring this year, this will be your one-time sabbatical.
Right. It's not on the agenda, so it can be no vote on it. I'm just letting you
Right.
know.
Yep, no, I wanted to talk to you about it. I knew what was happening with your boat, so,
Right. So I'm
So-
really getting a runaround on it.
yep. So,
And I don't know how that works, but we could take that, we could take this right now as notice to the Harbor Commission of this, similar to a letter I don't know if everybody's okay with that, but just my thought on it. The Harbor Commission's been notified because that's been something where we've had an issue in the past where the mooring goes empty and nobody ever wrote a letter or anything like that. So just thinking that could serve as notification.
Thank you.
Back to Iris then, I mean, if it's a Beetle Cat, if it's a, 12-foot boat, then is it on the present owner that if they want to, if they want to not let someone or let someone use it, they have a say in that? And then they have to also agree that their equipment is going to be liable for whoever's boat is on it?
Well, the way the ordinance reads is if somebody doesn't use the mooring, that the harbor master has the discretion to let someone use the mooring on that, but they must be on the waiting list.
Okay.
It doesn't go into saying that anything about paying, the new occupant has to pay any fee, or it doesn't go into any of that. So I've always kind of done, and most people, if they're looking for a year off, they're quite happy to, pay their normal fees. And the person that's been on the waiting list all these years, they get a mooring and they're not really paying anything for it.
Okay, and you just find a suitable boat that's not going to be
Right,
too big
exactly.
for that
Yeah,
spot?
it's got to be the same size or smaller. That's what the ordinance reads.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
That one in the corner by the town dock could probably go on it, right?
Yeah, right.
I hope it's near the rocks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
So
sort
we're
of posed,
approving this.
yeah, I sort of posed the question at the beginning. Do we have to have a formal motion, or is this just notification to the Harbor Commission? Or I think in the past we have only voted on things when it was sort of, they gave us a late notice and the time period had passed and we were trying to decide if we could count that as a sabbatical. I don't know if we've voted on this.
Well, the reason I brought it up, Greg, was, because this was kind of ambiguous, as far as the reason for the sabbatical. It's always been medical reasons, or my boat sank, or I sold the boat, trying to get another one, something like that. So that's the reason I brought this up, is because it was a little.
So if you were explicit to her in your reply that this is her one-time thing.
Yep.
So if she considers this a significant life event and this is her one-time thing, she's using it now.
Right, exactly.
And it's up to you, your discretion to put a suitable boat on that mooring. Don't be
Exactly.
surprised if it's occupied.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Cover our bases. I'll make a motion to move.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. We'll start with Tom again.
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
I'll vote yes as well.
Well, that's a wrap.
Okay, so that's it for what we have on the agenda here, and it's sort of an oversight, but we should have something for a spot for any future agenda requests. I don't know if that's allowed, Carol. I guess we need to talk about it to get something on in the next agenda, even though it's not on there.
Well, some committees allow their board members to make a suggestion for a future agenda. You just can't really talk about the subject. They can just kind of throw it out there that.
Right.
Let's talk about the grass or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's my intention, is so that way we can start to formulate for whenever the next meeting is. If anybody has anything, like my thought is, it was another oversight was we should have right at the start financial report and harbor master report, which have been, if there is one, we can talk about it. But my thought is right after the minutes, we should probably have those things back on the agenda. And then, maybe something like the fishing off the town dock falls under old business for the next one, things like that. So if anybody has anything they want to bring up for future discussion, I'm just suggesting that this might be the time to do so.
Would you want to have suggested language for the new dock rules board? Do you think that should go back?
So we can put that on an agenda. We can, town dock rules board for next time.
And Greg, we're not going to reach out to DEM in the interim. You're going to draft this letter and that's going to circulate through Gary to the solicitor.
Yeah, I think that should be our avenue, and then we'll have that listed under old business. And if we have any kind of correspondence by then, we'll discuss it at the time.
I think anybody can file a complaint with DEM. It's doesn't need to go through this board.
Right.
Find a disgruntled 8th grader.
I know, using that dock all the time. I'm personally not going to call DEM.
Do we want to, do we also want to put something on the agenda about the encroachment of the boat in the Secana Point Marina? We want to talk about putting that on the agenda as well?
We can put that on there. Yep.
And hopefully I'll have talked to Chris, and I'll have a little more information to share with the board by the next meeting.
Yep. Okay. Was there anything else that any other suggestions? Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Do we need a roll call? All in
I
favor?
think it'll be unanimous.
Is anyone opposed?
All
All right,
All right.
it's unanimous.
All right. Nice